Hello again and welcome to the Fixture by WICC. I'm Meg Linehan, I'm your host. I'm also a staff writer at The Athletic, covering women's soccer, the NWSL, and the US women's national team. And for the first time in a very long time, I really do have significant US women's national team news to bring you. Plus, we've got NWSL Fall Series games to talk about with a major impact on the standings for the Community Shield. We've got some League Cup results in England, including a major upset thanks to Liverpool, and of course, another round of results in the Women's Super League. All right, so before we get to all that women's soccer news, I've got another quick reminder for me about making your plan for voting. Whether it's by mail, through early voting, or on election day itself, make sure you have a plan and that you're staying safe, please. Now is also a great time to do all the research on those down ballot races. For example, taking the time to consider candidates for judicial elections. Again, voting isn't the only thing that you can do. It is one piece of how we can work to make our communities better. Having a plan to vote and being informed about every race on the ballot makes a huge difference. Turning to the NWSL, our second to last week of games here in the States has come and gone, and the Dash and Thorns kept up their winning ways, plus Sky Blue FC finished their 2020 NWSL Fall Series with a pretty definitive result. Christy Mewis added another 2 assists to her Fall Series total, setting up Shea Groom and Veronica Latsko on Friday night in Orlando as part of their 2-1 win over the Pride. Mewis had a fantastic 2020 thanks to the NWSL Challenge Cup and the Fall Series. She tallied 5 assists, added 2 goals of her own in these 4 games this fall. Now, it was a tale of 2 halves for the home side Orlando Pride, but Sydney Leroux scored her first goal since summer of 2018, very early into the second half, which is a really good sign for both the club and player as they look ahead to 2021. I was back out in New Jersey on Saturday to watch Sky Blue FC as the East Pod wrapped up for 2020. Sky Blue forward line had a banner day as Paige Monahan scored twice, plus provided an assist for Ifeana Onumanu on her goal, and Midge Purse assisted on both of Monahan's goal. Sky Blue made the most of their chances, with the Red Stars really looking much stronger when it came to the stats, but the only goal for Chicago came in the 89th minute via Morgan Bryan, thanks to a Tierna Davidson assist. Finally, Christine Sinclair, that name again, helped ensure the Thorns went unbeaten this Fall Series, converting 2 penalty kicks in a 2-1 win over OL Reign in Tacoma. Sinclair finished these 4 games with 6 goals total. We are down to the final 2 games of the NWSL Fall Series, both coming up this Saturday, October 17th. NWSL makes its return to Big CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, with Orlando Pride hosting the North Carolina Courage. Then OL Reign and Utah Royals FC close us out at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS All Access. It is hard to think this is almost all over, but we also have an expansion draft on the horizon still. Right, 3 wins and a draw for Portland Thorns FC. That means they have locked up the NWSL Community Shield for the Fall Series. Now first, if you don't know what the Community Shield is, the NWSL and one of their sponsors in Verizon tried to give some stakes to these fall games by offering grants to local organizations and businesses in NWSL markets. The team with the best record through these 4 games of the Fall Series wins $25,000 for their selected community partner, second earns $15,000, and the third earns $10,000. And even though that we know that Portland just wrapped up winning that $25,000 grant for their local business in Mimi's Fresh Tees, which is a Portland-based t-shirt company that lets people wear their truth and start conversations around social justice, it is also worth highlighting every team selected small business or organization to celebrate these community partners. In Chicago, the Red Stars played for Semicolon, which is a Black woman-owned bookstore and gallery space. In Houston, the Dash played for the NAACP Houston branch, and thanks to their 9 points in 4 games, have also wrapped up second place in the Fall Series for that $15,000 grant. North Carolina Courage are playing for local nonprofit 321 Coffee, whose mission is to provide meaningful employment for adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities and be a model of inclusion. Sky Blue FC, the nonprofit, New Jersey Institute for Social Justice is their community partner, which takes a policy-based approach to expose and fix issues of structural racism. OL Reign is playing for the Black Future Co-op Fund, which addresses systemic racism and wealth inequality, particularly in the state of Washington. Now here's the great thing, OL Reign's leadership has also pledged a minimum donation of $15,000 to the fund, a great move that goes above and beyond the Community Shield. All right, Orlando Pride went hyper-local and are playing for the Paramore Kids Zone, located only a block from their home stadium, which is a local program working on multiple fronts to turn Paramore's kids into healthy, successful adults. Utah Royals FC are playing for a local nonprofit, Journey of Hope, which empowers at-risk women and girls via mentorship and case management. And finally, the Washington Spirit played for DC Scores, one of their official community partners, and it's an organization that creates neighborhood teams and mixes soccer with learning and poetry. As soon as the NWSL Fall Series comes to a close on Saturday, the U.S. Women's National Team will come together for their first camp since they wrapped up the She Believes Cup back in March. Head coach Vlatko Andonovski named a 27-player roster for this camp, which will take place in Colorado from October 18th through the 28th. So first, who won't be there? First of all, the U.S. Women's National Team players who are currently abroad in Europe, as well as Julie Ertz, who is out for a family commitment, and injured players in Carly Lloyd, Mal Pugh, A.D. Franch, and Megan Rapinoe. But even though this roster only has 4 players with over 100 caps, which is a bit of a rarity for the U.S. Women's National Team, there's still plenty of buzz about who's in. And that's because of one name in particular, and Catarina Macario, 2-time Mac Hermann Trophy winner out of Stanford, earned her first senior team national team call-up, but also became a U.S. citizen on the very same day. And Andonovski told the press that U.S. Soccer is working on the FIFA petition that would allow her to play for America, potentially by the 2021 Olympics, which is truly huge news for the national team here. There's plenty of NWSL talent called up for this camp, including both Christy Mewis and Shea Groom out of the Houston Dash, plus top draft picks in Sophia Smith out of Portland, Ashley Sanchez out of Washington, and Vlatko, of course, will be reunited with his former Reign player, forward Bethany Balcer. So it's not the usual roster that we might expect, but we're getting a real look at the options for the U.S. national team as they might have in the player pool into 2021 and then looking ahead to the 2023 World Cup. All right, over in England, a pretty busy week of fixtures kicked off with some League Cup ties, including a very fun and very major upset of Manchester United thanks to Rachel Furness and Liverpool. In other notable results, Man City advanced past Everton 3-1, and Chelsea just pretty much completely dismissed Arsenal with a 4-1 result. Now, in WSL, Aston Villa had their next 2 fixtures postponed after one player from their first team tested positive for COVID-19. So those 2 games included what should have been last weekend's match against Bristol City and then this upcoming weekend's match against Chelsea. As for the games that were played though, Manchester United finally found a winner thanks to Millie Turner's header off a Tobin Heath corner kick. Alex Morgan watch for Spurs still on. She took in that match against Manchester United from the stands with her daughter Charlie. Arsenal bounced back from their midweek form for a 5-0 win over Brighton. Everton continued their excellent WSL form with a 3-1 win over West Ham, and Birmingham City edged past Reading 1-0. Now, despite some very, very questionable penalty calls in the Chelsea-Manchester City match to close out Sunday's action, it was still a fantastic game, with Emma Hayes' side looking way more dangerous and just completely carving up the midfield. Chelsea took this one 3-1, and we saw a very, very happy Sam Kerr after finishing one of her chances, which ultimately proved to be the game winner. All right, I hope everyone enjoys this one final weekend of the NWSL Fall Series and all of the other games coming up around the world. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me here at the Fixture by WICC. Make sure, as always, you are following at ICC Women on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest. And you can like International Champions Cup on Facebook so you don't miss anything there. You can find me at It's Meg Linehan. Thanks for watching.